I watched your video about the HSA. So if I get the HDHP next year, does that mean I have to cancel my FSA? Oh, okay. So good question. So this is a HSA question. Awesome. So HDHP, if you don't know what that is, that's the high deductible health plan in order for you to get an HSA. Okay. So I'm going to use some examples. If you have a United Healthcare, you're going to have the HDHP high deductible health plan with the United Healthcare. But your HSA could be with a bank called Optum Bank. It could be a completely different broker. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think HSA Bank is another bank. So HSA, you could have HDHP with HSA Bank, but your investments, HSA investments, are managed by Fidelity. Okay, so just make sure you know the plan on what you need to do. Now, I talked about this in the maybe 2 live streams ago about the HSA, but if you start your HDHP, that's your high deductible health plan. Let's say you started in March instead of January. So you're only covered partially from March to December. Then you need to remember that the HSA, that how much you can contribute to, is also going to be prorated. Okay. So let's say you start in 2025. The contribution limit is going to be $4,300 and for the individuals, and then $8,550 for the family plan. So I'll answer your question about the FSA in a moment, but just remember that you have to prorate how much you can contribute. So 85, 50, and then you can just do do the math on what the percentage is going to be. If it's prorated for 12 months, if you divide it by 12, let's see, $712.50. So you might just miss out on, you got to subtract that by 1425. And that gives you, what is it, 7125. Might not have the exact numbers here, but these are the 2025 numbers, okay? So if it's 85.50 and you're only covered by HDHP for, let's say, 9 months or something like that, I'm just gonna go and erase that. Then you need to calculate what the proration is gonna be. Then you're not gonna be able to contribute the full HSA amount only during the time that you're covered. All right. Now, you mentioned that you have an FSA. So FSA will be the flexible spending account, completely different from HSA. Okay. If you're going to start your HSA, you do have to cancel what's called a healthcare FSA. That is going to be a no-go with the HSA. You can have both, but you just can't contribute to both. Okay, so you can't contribute to your HSA up to $4,300 a year, and then you put another, $3,000 or $3,500 to the FSA. I can't remember the numbers on the top of my head. You can only contribute to one of them. So under the HDHP plan, okay, you can have an HSA, but you cannot have a healthcare FSA. However, you can have what's called a limited healthcare FSA. That is different from the healthcare FSA because limited here is only covering vision and dental. Okay, so healthcare FSA covers all of it, and that's assuming that you don't have the HDHP. But for vision and dental, you can continue to contribute in what's called a limited healthcare FSA. So you could have, you could reduce your taxable income by putting some money into this limited FSA. By the way, did you know that over 50% of Americans who make over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck? So is it always an income problem or a spending problem? If you're having trouble figuring out your budget, I encourage you to download a budgeting app called YNAB. YNAB stands for You Need a Budget. That's right. Whether you make $50,000 a year or $300,000 a year, every one of you needs to create a budget to achieve financial independence. You need to give every dollar a job so that you can be more intentional with your savings and spending. You can get a free trial without any credit card information by using the link in the description below. And the other one, if you have dependent care FSA, I have that for my daughter. It's actually really awesome. It's called dependent care, which is completely separate from healthcare. I brought that up because I think somebody asked me that question, like, hey, if I have HSA, does that mean I have to cancel all the FSAs? No. Okay. The only FSA you cannot have under the HDHP with HSA is healthcare FSA, but you can have limited healthcare FSA that covers vision and dental. And you can also have the dependent care FSA that can cover all the child care expenses, like before and after school programs, summer camps, I believe nannies. As soon as your child turns 13 years old, you cannot contribute to the dependent care FSA anymore. So it's only good for, you know, babies from 0 until they turn 13 years old. So it would be the month and the day that your child turns 13, not the year. Okay. So if your child turns, then you can still use that FSA from January till July 1st. I hope that makes sense. Really good benefit to have. Ask your HR if that dependent care FSA is available. Just remember to have your HSA. You're gonna have HDHP, and that's with the healthcare insurance. Okay, so that would be your insurance plan that you have. Then you're gonna have HSA, could be with Fidelity, Optum Bank, HSA Bank, or whoever. Schwab has that too. So that's where you get to invest in index funds. Okay, now the early retirees, and I talked about this in a few live streams ago. They use the cash expenses or cash that is set aside in a high yield savings account to pay for any co-payments, not the premiums, so that's usually in pre-tax, but any co-payments, prescription medications and all that, so they can reimburse themselves in the future years. So check out that video when you get a chance. Really good question on it. Just, you know, HSA is not for everyone. That's something else that you really want to pay attention to is what are your medical expenses now, right? So if you have ongoing issues with your physical health that you need to take care of, and the HDHP is going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars more to pay for a medical procedure, maybe it's not worth it, right? If you're a healthy person, you got nothing going on, then, you know, maybe HDHP is right for you. So just make sure that, you know, just pay attention to what you're spending every year. Keep track of your expenses. Thanks for the question.